Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And today we will be reacting to another testimony of a Muslim who left the faith. Let's see the reason why and see if it actually holds any weight. Again, as per usual, we're gonna do this without trying to make fun of the person or look down on them or anything, but we will critique them. Anyway, let's jump into it.
Everything that we did and everything that we believed built on that foundation of knowing who we are as Muslims in America.
Giselle Katri grew up in a family who demanded strict adherence to the Quran and Islamic faith. For her, it was the only way to earn her parents' love.
I believe that staying true to Islam was something that my parents and I would bond over. If I did as they requested for me to do, like going to the mosque with them and participating in Ramadan fasting, it would bring us closer.
But none of those things brought Giselle's family closer together. In fact, her parents fought constantly.
Sometimes I would wake up and I would have to leave the house with my mom in the middle of the night. I could go to bed thinking everything's fine and wake up the next morning and it was disaster.
As for Giselle, her prayers to Allah offered little comfort.
Allah seemed just really distant from me and didn't really feel as though I was being listened to. I felt more of like I was going through the motions, not really feeling anything in return from God, any love or support or hope. I wanted that peace that people keep talking about that Islam represents, and I didn't ever feel that.
When Giselle was a senior in high school, her father ended the marriage, and her mother started a new family.
After I went through all that with my
Yeah, I'm gonna stop it right there. So I guess the initial family was dysfunctional and didn't really seem like they were. I mean, that makes sense. I think any family from any religion can have a dysfunctional family. You know, I'm one of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like my upbringing was not ideal, but Alhamdulillah. But I mean, and by the way, my family's Christian. So yeah, that's not just a Muslim thing. Yeah, I just want to point that out real quick. That any faith group or lack thereof that a family comes from, that family can still have these types of problems. So anyway,
family, I just kind of felt like I wasn't worthy of any affection or love, and so I looked for it for my parents and didn't get it. And it kind of was a reminder, hey Giselle, you're not that great. If you were great, your family wouldn't have left you behind. The thought of the future, even the thought of tomorrow, the very next day, would just bring me into a panic because I just never knew what was going to happen.
During college, she started working part-time at a private school. By then, Giselle's anxiety was triggering debilitating panic attacks.
Imagine you see a car about to hit you that's not slowing down or trying to stop. It was just like that, but all the time. I thought I was gonna die. My heart rate would just increase. I would start sweating and I felt darkness, like a dark cloud over my head.
During those times, it wasn't Allah that gave Giselle comfort. It was the school's administrator, Connie, who was a Christian.
Whenever I would have panic attacks at work, she would pray with me. I would feel a lot of peace, and I never felt that way when I finished praying my Islamic prayers. I was like, what is Miss Connie doing? What does she have that I don't have? Whatever it is, I want it.
Connie invited her to church, but what Giselle saw and heard there wasn't what she expected.
During that service, I learned about atonement, how Jesus died for our sins. As a Muslim, I didn't really even understand why Jesus had died. It was just kind of like, maybe this is true. It was kind of like it gave me something extra to think about. Parts of the Quran were already wrong about what Christians believed. It wasn't representing Christianity in its truth. It just kind of made me question a lot more.
Giselle wrestled with her doubts. A few days later, she had the worst panic attack she'd ever experienced.
I was like, maybe I should try what Miss Connie did. Maybe I should try praying. So I started off, praying. I tried to model her prayer and say some of the words that I remembered her saying when I did that, I remember seeing this huge flash of light in front of my face, and it was kind of like when you close your eyes and you look at the sun, that orangey glow, and feeling an overwhelming, huge wave of just peace and love. And I fell immediately asleep, and sleep was the last thing on my mind.
When she woke up the next morning, Giselle opened a Bible she had received as a gift and began reading it front to back.
What I found in there was just so much peace. And Isaiah 49, it mentions how God is so loving that even if a mother forgets about their child or abandons their child, that God will never abandon you, and that your name is written on his hand. And I very much identified with that. And knowing that God loved me and cared about me in that way, that was something unique to me that I'd never even had any sort of inkling about. So God really showed up when I needed him the most. So
over the next few weeks, Giselle studied and compared sources until she was convinced that Jesus is the Son of God.
I really came to the knowledge of, okay, Jesus claimed to be God, and if this is true, what are the implications of that? The resurrection isn't just mentioned in the Bible. The crucifixion isn't just mentioned in the Bible. There's historical accounts outside of the Bible that really resonated with me, and knowing that there is history behind it tells me that there's truth in that. And I just said, God, I accept that you are who you say you are. I accept that you're Jesus, and I accept that you are God. And I'm sorry for the things that I've done that have hurt your heart. I'm just so glad that you've brought me to the knowledge of who you are, and I accept you as my God. And that was the day that, after that, never again panic in any sort of way. Never again.
Today, Giselle shares her new faith with confidence.
I want everything that I do and I say to represent him. And that gives me such an amazing purpose in life, because I'm God's representative here. I get to be his hands and feet and show other people what God's like. And just like Miss Connie showed me the love of Jesus through her actions and through her prayers with me, I can now do that for other people.
Giselle also says knowing God cares for her has changed everything.
Instead of me being fearful for tomorrow, I embrace it, and I am running into it. I can no longer think that I'm worthless, because if my name is written on God's hand, as Isaiah 49 mentions, then that means that he cares immensely about me, and he's always thinking about me. So I need to always think about him.
There's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot to unpack. Damn, where do I even begin? Okay, so just to recap, she had a rough upbringing because her parents were pretty, bickered a lot, and they didn't really show her like affection or anything. So she had some pretty bad parents, and that led to her developing some, anxiety issues and whatnot. She didn't really feel a connection with, you know, God, which, of course, is Allah. In this video, you get this very strong indication that God and Allah are two separate things, even though it's like not the same thing. You can easily replace the word Allah with God, and it's literally the same thing. In fact, you can even turn this entire story into a Christian story. Oh, I come from a rough Christian household where my parents bickered all the time, and they didn't really show me any real affection. And I mean, yeah, we were all Christian, but I mean, I, you know, didn't really feel any connection to it. God was just some person from the Bible who, you know, was so distant and I confusing. And one day I met a Muslim counselor at my college, and he started talking to me about Islam and about Allah and how hey bro, and there's really no indication that she did go to like a mosque or she did go to like Islamic schools and learn about her faith. The fact that she learned in the Bible that she's a representative of God, well, didn't you already learn that from the Quran? Or did you not read the Quran? Did you not learn about that in your previous faith? Did you know about your previous faith? And that's the big thing. Because the fact that she said this is the biggest thing. The fact that you said that you didn't know as a Muslim, you didn't know why Jesus died. It's like the Quran doesn't say, and Islam doesn't say that Jesus died. Jesus was simply risen up in the heaven without having to be hung on a cross or die or anything, because it doesn't make sense for a prophet of God who's righteous and didn't do anything wrong to have to suffer like that. And a man can't take on the sins of another man. That's in the Bible. So, you know what I'm saying? I would like to think that for her, she probably, and based on the testimony, she didn't reach out to any shuyukh, any other Muslim, sisters. Nothing. There was none of that. She didn't say anything wrong with her faith. That's the thing. There was nothing that she said that was like actually against Islam. She just said that she felt distant from God. That's it. So that's kind of like a you thing. That's not an Islam thing. I'll just say what my Christian mom says to me. Why look for other religions when you can just look into the one that you're already in? At least do that first, and then, you know, if you somehow don't see the truth, then bounce. Look somewhere else. But I'm being serious. The fact that she said that in the Islamic faith Jesus died, but we don't know why, that's a huge, huge indication that this is not a real ex-Muslim. This is just just a Christian woman who got paid to do this. Bro, there's no way, bro. Unless you just was that distant from your Islamic faith that you didn't know that and that you were confused about that. Which, if that is the case, then that kind of further, proves my point that, like, maybe you should learn about your own faith before going to somewhere else. That's literally like a Christian becoming Hindu, and then whenever you ask that person, "Why did you leave Christianity?" and then the person says, "Oh, I didn't understand how Mary was like also God." Like, bro, Christians don't believe that Mary's God. She's the mother of Jesus, who they claim to be God, but she's not, according to them, God. Even though the Catholics pray to her, but still, that's like, bro, like, you should probably learn about your faith before you, whatever. Anyway, the moral of the story is don't fight with your spouse. Show your kids love and teach them about their faith and answer their questions. Because we live in an age where education is probably the highest it's been in thousands of years across the masses. We young folks, we're taught so much in primary school, middle school, high school, college, that we think we know everything and we want to know everything, and we think that there's an answer for everything, and that we don't need God anymore. So if you don't answer our questions about faith, we're gonna leave faith completely. So answer their questions, the questions of your kids, and inshallah everything will be alright. طيب. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.